So once you guys get those next week, we can give you a debrief on how to set them up as a V-tubing rig. It's quite simple and it's not too demanding on the computer.
Nice.
So let's see, who else we got? Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, what's up?
Leader. Hey.
Hey, Cynics, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, Vince?
Hey. Yo.
As we get started here, we're trying to get everything going, but then we're going to start dropping links to some of these virtual worlds we're in, so that the audience can join too. We've got quite a few of our AvaStars set up there, so as people jump in, they can start equipping them and seeing how they look when they run around too.
Quigbell, I see you got your hand up. I think I just invited you to speak. See if you've got an invite.
Hey, Bully Meow. Yeah, we're going to start sharing some of these links. Actually, let's get this thing started. So the first one, we actually wanted to start over at our virtual AvaStars dressing room. So here, I'm going to share the link up here in the chat, and then I'm also going to share it over in the stage chat so people can, if you want to join us, we're in Hyperfi right now. That's where we're going to start. So you can all jump in and see what the teleport room looks like. Anybody?
Hey, Tris, before we do that, buddy, could you invite Quigbell and Sandy up on stage, please?
Oh yeah, Sandy's already here.
Gotcha. We're missing one Miss Quigbell.
I thought I had. There she is.
Yes. The gang's all here.
Hey guys.
Yo.
Hola.
Oh, this is so dope. All right. Now decisions to make.
And Sandy, we see you're here too. It is good. Our old group, right? It's been a while since we were all up on the stage at the same time, but man, it's a lot of memories and nostalgia on some of our old metaverse field trips. We're so much further along now.
Feels like we've come full circle. We're going back to the roots. What got us all here? What got us all stoked to begin with? I mean, we kinda, the space as a whole kind of lost touch with where we all came from because a lot of folks got here after all the fun stuff. But we're going back.
Back to the future.
I was gonna say.
Yes.
Sweet. Should I try to share my screen in here? We got lurkers maybe who can't.
Yeah, I'm trying to as well. Anybody who wants, they can also see my screen. We should be able to see all of us up on the stage. So anybody who
Oh yeah, that's right. You are. I see. Yeah, right on. Hang on, let me come down.
Just got myself in front too, but you know. But yeah, everybody else share your stuff. I know Cynics has got his monkey. He's always funny. It's very recognizable whenever I see him pop in.
Yo, so this. Wait, where Quigbell's up in here? Maybe Quigbell can speak on this. I know from back in the day with AvaStars, with this being in like the long-term roadmap, that this was like always going to be a thing. But have to imagine also that like the process of actually making a thing was a feat of enormous proportion. And would love to hear like any background information that I've been missing out on while this whole process was going on. If we could like give me like some alpha or something, you know.
Okay, so I wish Toxam was here for this part.
But we could table it till Toxam comes.
Yeah, this has been like such a labor of love for real. Like we've gone through so many different like iterations of outfits and like how we were going to do it. Like, are we going to do it by wave? Are we going to do trait based outfits? You know, like just remember here too that like there's 25,000 AvaStars to create and all the traits have to work together somehow randomly. Like it was amazing. Like the team, I cannot like give enough shout outs to like the entire Crypto Avatars, Polygonal Minds, Vipe crew. Like you guys have all been amazing. And on that note, look, Commander Jimmy has arrived.
Yeah.
The wild Jim has just appeared.
What up? What up? What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
The gang's all here. What's up, Jim?
What's up, Frizzle? How you doing, man?
Dude, I was just saying to Quigbo, man, I know this was like in the roadmap from jump, and to like, see it come to life is like just so cool after like, being out here for so long, like all of us at this point, man. So it sort of feels like homecoming, man. This is cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And, I guess this was not a definite thing we were going to do when we set out with AvaStars, but it became an important thing for us to do as we went along in our journey here. And one of the things that was really important to me is that these are just an upgrade to the original NFT itself and attached to the original NFT itself, so that as we go into the future in the metaverse, we're able to just take our Avastar NFT with us wherever we go and use that VRM file attached to the NFT itself. So hopefully that future proofs these a little bit as we step into the metaverse. And I'm excited that Avastars are going to be able to have a presence there, because they were created to be a metaverse identity, and it starts with a 2D picture, but eventually evolves into 3Ds and personalities. And at being a standard, these things can now evolve as far as the space wants to take it. I'm sure we already saw examples. Even was it 2 years ago now that we did the Alethea AI thing and had an AI personality inside of Avastars. Seems like so long ago. But the 3D part's really important, and Quigbell and Toxam and his team and everybody have worked really hard to bring this to life. I think Quigbell basically has lived through a version of what I did when I was creating the project in the beginning and going through and vetting every single trait and everything else. I heard her talking about that. So he's probably dreaming in 3D avatars for a couple months now, at least.
Yes, I am.
Incredible work you've done here, Quigbell.
Yo, I'm just sort of like barging in and like interviewing people like I was supposed to do this or whatever, and then I'll shut up after this. But I gotta ask, like, how does it work? Like, once it's all out there, like I have a bunch of Avastars, they're dope. How do I get like the thing?
So you will just have the thing, which is really cool.
That's the best way to do it.
You just have the thing. And if you want the VRM file like we were doing today, kind of behind the scenes here, you can get the VRM file as well. So like you'll just have the thing. So any of the metaverse worlds that like support, you connect your wallet and then select the NFT and you just like show up in 3D. Like that's a possibility. Like Hyperfi right now has that, which is really dope. But I guess I don't know, Rizzle, tell us more about Mona. Like what's on the horizon for Monaverse?
A lot of things. Like a lot of these platforms are working on. They're actually in the process of like really trying to differentiate themselves from a lot of the other platforms because they're Unity based, which allows for them to do some interesting things that some of the other platforms that aren't Unity based aren't able to do. And Toxam can probably talk more about that specifically. I don't know like the inner workings of things, but I do know that they're leaning hard in that direction, which basically offers like them the ability to do not necessarily like better things, but different things, which is cool. So I like that they're trying to go in a direction to make them stand out from the crowd, but I also love the crowd, which is why we're here in Hyperfi. And I run the Whip meetup, which is like pretty metaverse agnostic, and I'm just like a super fan of the space. So they're like one of the cool platforms out there doing cool stuff. And I tried to tee up, so since I've been working with them, I'm familiar with some of the dope spots over there, and have had my hand in making a mishmash of a spot that we can pop into real quick. So tried to tee up some cool spots that we can take some of these Avastars for a spin in as we go on this field trip here. So should be fun.
Yeah, I wanted to drop in the links. I dropped our Hyperfi Avastars world that we've been working on. This is basically anybody who's used Avastars before. This is like the teleporter room where the Avastars came to planet Avastar. So tried to recreate that in Hyperfi, and I made some of the models of some of our first 5 exclusive founder models here. So anybody who's in here with us at hyperfi.io/avastars, you can go and click on one of those in the corner, and then you can equip it, and that'll make you one of the exclusive avastars. So you too can run around as an avastar with us as we do this.
And don't forget Jillian. You've got Jillian over here in the dead center. She's equipable as well.
One thing I noticed was we've all got pants, which were never like a thing for avastars. You know, it was only like shoulders up and everything. So I would imagine that was like a whole thing, figuring out what the bottoms of these people look like.
Rizzle, the bottoms were simple in comparison to the sides and back of the head.
I was just going to say that because, you know, we're forward-facing PFPs, which are freaking amazing, first of all. But, like, you don't think about when you're going to, like, transfer them into 3D. Like, okay, wait, what does the side of the head look like? What does the back of the head look like? And also, like, how, if we want to have longer hair, is that going to, like, you know, run into a hoodie or something? And, like, how do we address that? The clipping and all that stuff. Like, that was a really difficult part of this, but also a really fun part of it because, like Jimmy was saying earlier, I got to basically kind of, like, live what he was going through, only with the backs of the heads. Like, I got to, like, be the designer of what the hairstyles look like in the back. So if you don't like something, you can blame me. Come to me. It's all good.
But also give her credit if you really like something.
Thanks, Jimmy.
It's a good call out. It has been really fun, like, going over it. And I know, yeah, Quigbell has spent a ridiculous amount of hours fine-tuning things, going back through and stuff, you know. It's interesting when you go from a 2D to a 3D model, just how much extra work there is that you don't realize, and it gives you a different appreciation for some of these 3D artists out there, just how intense it really is.
It's really cool seeing you and Walshy talking to us as avastars today, though.
This is actually really simple too, Jimmy. It's really easy to set up. So hopefully more folks will want to get into the VTubing stuff. It's just a matter of downloading like one or two softwares. So we can get a walkthrough on that on the go as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
and a good add-on. So each one of these avastars, they do come fully rigged. So all the face muscles, everything that you need to make this work, that's part of the VRM that you're getting that's attached to these avastar files. So all you need to do is download some common VTuber software, set it up. In fact, you can get Leap Motion, which will make the hands work too. We haven't bought the extra stuff to make the hands, but you know, I could be talking with my hands right now if I had. Wow, we got a lot of people joining us. Yeah, you know, it works without the Leap Motion, except that we're still sort of in infancy on some of these VTuber things, and it's pretty hilarious when, you know, the hands disjoint and go all crazy and start like going all crazy and slapping yourself in the face. So
yeah, talk Sam. If you want to talk about the process at all, we'd love to hear from you, buddy.
Oh, sure. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hey, Tox.
What's up, man?
What's up, guys? It's been a long time for some of you. How to explain it? This hasn't been like a couple of weeks things. This has been probably a whole set of months for this. I gotta say that we get like many bumps from the road, and those are the things I remember. In the very beginning, we just tried to the thing is, many of these avatars have been evolving through the time, and the amount of traits on avatars is humanly insane. So we had to go through them a couple of times, and not just a couple of times, but many different times, right? And also, since all of them are humanoids, there has been a lot of work on Blender to make sure, because in a way they're all having the same face, but not really. So we had to come up with a solution of making all of them through one set of heads and then evolving it. And I remember at the very beginning we tried to match the profile picture as it was, And as you can see, the profile picture from Avastars, they all have face expression. And I remember the first time we tried them with the face expression on, we tried like we didn't even thought on how they would look on, on a B2B app, right? And then we started to try it out, and having them, all of them, with the face expression already placed in, it looked very weird. In the very beginning, it was fun because you could recognize your own avatar, but then after 5 minutes, you start to as a human, you're not all the time doing an expression, so you start to see like they look kind of weird, and kind of like a pirate that is doing his expression all the time. And we decided to remove that. That was a huge thing because it had to do. It made us think to how do we make them all relaxed and then allow people to use their face expression. So we had to do over again all of them and just remove the face expression for all of them and make them just look normal. And I think it was a good solution. It was at the end of the day, you can see them. And if you want to activate your face expression, that's something that we added in the BRM. So you can always activate your avatar face expression, but through all the use of it, you see them as regular human beings, or humanoids, if you want to say it. And that was one of the bumps of the roads that I remember very clearly, because it was like, oh, we went all this way to now having to go all over again at them. And then I remember that also one of the things that one of the other bumps of the road was the mouth moving for all of them. Right now, if, for example, if Wesley speaks, you will see that he will be moving his mouth all the time and looking kind of normal. But in the very beginning, since they had a face expression added, they were looking very weird. that's that's something, and we had to scratch our heads to see how we could just have like a regular expression, and then having all of them with the mouths moving and all of this kind of stuff working on. And oh man, I'm happy that it worked out. I will I cannot show you, but the Blender file that is generating all of them is huge. It's like it takes almost 15 minutes just to open it and start tweaking it out and adding all these different expressions for all the different mouths, for all the different eyes, for all the different face shapes. And another thing that I can remember is the bodies. We did a lot of iterations on the bodies, like huge amount of iterations. I remember we had like a body that we tried and we didn't like, especially the female body was very difficult to match out. I remember he having like a very weird looking posture and also very bulky, and she didn't look like a female, and we had to go over and over and over again. And we even had to swap the artist in the team, like, because eventually you just get on the zone and you cannot see, you get tunnel vision on your own project. So we had to swap artists a couple of times to see, and I'm happy that at the end of the day the result is really good. That's that's what makes me sleep at night. Finally, they look really good. You can see variation of all of them. They're different types of bodies, and it's been a long run of facing things, changing things, facing things again, changing again. Quick Bell has been reviewing hundreds, if not thousands, of avatars over and over and over and over and over again. She's been very good at doing feedback. um, the team has been also very patient. Sometimes it was how to say it. It was exhausting to see. Oh man, we didn't make it. Oh man, we didn't make it. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy with the results. They can be working anywhere that uses BRM. Finally and thankfully, BRM is getting accepted into many different places. And the great thing about this is that now we have set of avatars in 3D, and even if we need in the future to, I don't know, generate more triangles so they can fit on Unreal Engine very well, or even generate them for animation. Maybe somebody wants to make an animation, or I don't know, a trailer or even a movie about avatars. In the future, we can add those things to the base measures that we already have, so people can create more content with them and be free to express themselves with avatars.
And that really is the ultimate goal there, to be able to express yourself as an Avastar. That makes me so happy. And yes, thank you, Toxam. Like, thank your whole team. You know, I can't say enough good things about your entire team. Yeah, it really has been a lengthy process, to be sure. But we got there, right? Like, we're so close. Next week, man. Like, it's happening. I'm so excited.
It's happening. It's happening.
It was worth it to get the end result that we've ended up with. It really was.
I mean, we've been working on different collections, not just Avastars, and I can tell you that Avastars is one of the most complex collections that we ever work on, because they look similar but not kind of, and we had to go with blend shapes, and it's not easy to work with blend shapes. It's easier to work with like separated models and different setups, because at the end of the day, I don't know. I know many of you don't know about 3D, but a blend shape is like having the same 3D model, just a few triangles move here, move there, but all of them kind of share the same 3D model for them, right? The same face. And it has been a challenge. Also, I can comparing with other projects. Um, the people in your team has been really reviewing all of them, and they've been I know Quinkle has been very picky with some of them, and she got frustrated a couple of times during the road, but I'm super happy with the results. I mean, I cannot wait to try my own avatar running around the metaverse.
Hey, it's kind of fitting that it ended up being so complicated, because that's kind of been Avastar's shtick since the very beginning. We were very complex as far as our smart contracts go. Being on chain at the time that Avastars launched was no easy task. It took a lot of developers' blood, sweat, and tears. So it's kind of fitting that it was a massive undertaking for 3Ds as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, there are a lot of them, and they have a huge amount of traits. Like, I cannot even remember how many, but it was huge amount of traits, and some of them are very difficult to really see the difference between them. But at the end of the day, we nailed it down. Um, we had one person who took the lead as an artist to create this new version of it, and then he had to take to review all of them separately, giving also advice to the people in the team to help him. And I don't know how to explain how happy I am, because it's been a long run.
Agreed. I don't know if is there any other collection that anybody here knows about that's done something of this magnitude in 3D from 2D NFTs?
Absolutely not.
No, probably not. Probably
Yeah.
not.
You know, it's
There's
hard to
people
claim.
trying, but
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, it's hard to claim a first in this space. As soon as you do, 50 people jump out and yell at you. But in this case, I think we might have it.
As
I
far
like
as the
the
sheer
idea in
number of
the
traits,
chat.
Quig, I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, that's just it. The sheer scope of the project is really what's, was what made it difficult to begin with. And that's really, it is a lot different conversation when, you've got a couple hundred traits, right? Or like a smaller collection or a very small subset you're trying to create. It's another complete discussion when we have 25,000 Avastars, right? With a huge amount of different traits and all kinds of interactions and chain and combinations. So getting them all to jive effectively has been quite the adventure.
Yeah, because when you're, I don't blame the 2D artist. This is something that happens all the time in game development. Like, the 2D artists do crazy things in 2D, and then when you add a new dimension, you add a third dimension to it. Some things just don't work, and you have to think about it, rethink about it, try it out, tweak it out, and it is hard to match 100% like 2D version with. One of the things that I remember like being a pain in the ass was like the backs of everything, right? Because everything is on front, and just imagine all the traits of hairs. I don't know how many traits of hairs there are in AvaSmart, but there are a few dozen of them. And imagine those of those we had to do like one, just the sides and also the back of them. So just proposing how they are going to look, reviewing how they're going to look, making sure that they look good. It's just reviewing over and over and over and over and over again. I cannot explain how many meetings we had with the teams just looking at hairs. And then another thing happens is that when you work with different artists, we have a bunch of artists in the team, and when they start working on one hair and then the other guy does another hair, and eventually you have, I don't know, a few dozens of hairs, and then you start comparing with each other and you start to see like, oh, this artist went this way because he didn't have, a way to check it out from the front. And you start to, not just because they don't fit, is because you start having a whole different of artists doing kind of the same thing but not differently, and you can see some of them standing out, some of them looking not as good as we wanted to. And that was another thing that we had to do, like even out the whole collection so you see that it's all about the same collection, right? It looks, all of them looks like the same artist did it, even though there was a group of people working on it. And that's something that you know just the back of the hairs, just making sure that they look good and they all look the same. That was another challenge that we faced, and I'm really happy with the results. I cannot say that in enough times, because just thinking about it now it's all of laughs. Right now we are laughing, having fun with it. But I remember having a very stressful time just explaining explaining the artist, like, it's not that your work is bad, it's that it doesn't fit with all the rest of things. And sometimes artists, you need to be very picky and very cautious how you say things, because they can think that they are doing a bad job, but it's not like they're doing a bad job. It's like we need to be a combination of people, not just a different artist working separately. And if we didn't do all this work and all the reviewing work and spending so much time into this and making sure they will look as good as they do now.
I think somebody in the audience had actually mentioned we should try to take a screenshot before we jump to some of the places. But we have another world of Walshy and I have been messing with over the past couple of weeks as we do our field trips. And I put a lot of our, we got a big chunk of Avastar primes over there that we can go over to try to don a different group as well. So if we want to try taking a screenshot here, I can start dropping links to the next world so we can go over there and take a look at some of these other ones. Now, a cool thing about Hyperfy is that if you jump to another world, you won't, if you equip what you just clicked on here, it'll go with you. So if you want to stay as one of the exclusives, you can also get that, or you can jump right back here to try it back on. Here we go. I'm going to drop the link right now for our next one. Part of our earlier conversation was really how much of a crazy adventure this has been, and it's been fun for everybody on the team, because we've all been working together for quite a long time now. But one of the ways that Walshy and I have been trying to showcase and test and stress test and, see where the real weird things are, like we thought the easiest way would be if we just started running a weekly meetup. So we've been doing it for, Walshy, what's it been? Maybe 2-3 months at this point. Like every Wednesday we meet up and we see what we can build, what we can explore, we can try. We've tried some AI stuff. We've tried some other VRM stuff, but it's been really fun. And so this is what's we've come up with a bunch of different things where we have some music stuff here. We have a little testing place, and the interview place. A lot of these models actually came from Polygonal Minds, who are behind the Vipe team. So that's been really cool. But I've made a bunch of these models available here. So if you jump in this world and click around, all of these Avastars up here are equipable as well. These are all examples of some of them from the collection. So same way as before, where you can click on one and then you'll see a preview of it, and then you can equip them. We've got one of the king guys. We've got a couple females, one with glass and cat face traits. We've got some alien skin traits. Again, this really exemplifies TalkSam's focus on no matter what your trait combo is, they all need to look good, and it's a lot more difficult than you would think to make a clown nose look good with a alien afro.
And polygons. I learned a lot about polygons. I'm like, wait, can't we just move this one little piece of hair over to the side? And it's like, well, if you move this one little piece of hair, then it breaks the entire left side of the face. So maybe we need to come up with something different. But like I learned a lot through this too, and I hope I was gracious enough with everybody. And I did try my best to make sure, like, that we're still new in this too. Like nobody has perfected this, and this takes forever. It is a really intense and long and arduous process. But yeah, polygons were not my friend.
I think some of us are reloading some of our browsers.
There we go, guys.
Crashing kind of hard.
Yeah, my audio crashed.
Too much metaversing right now.
Death to audio problems.
Always some sort of an audio problem. And don't forget, chat, it's a great time to throw any questions our way if you got them.
There we go. I see Banks, you joined. If you're looking, so if you go over to the Polygonal Mind stage over there, I've got a bunch. We've also got a Quigbell and my avatar. We're actually, at one point we were working on concert stuff, so I made my guy the singer and her on the keyboard. So you can also equip them there if you want to go dance with the anime characters.
With Shrek.
Hey guys, this is Sandy.
Yeah,
so
after you've been on the thing trying to come up with like new weird things, to do, you start getting really weird, right? So now we've got Dr. Nefario and Shrek dancing to our rock band. That's okay.
Hi, Sandy.
Oh my gosh, so it does work. Okay, I was like, okay, am I having audio problems? Because I had to switch from my computer to mobile. But okay, just to be clear, this is available on Hyperfi and Mona as of right now. Like, what other platforms are you guys looking into expanding? I love this. I'm having so much fun with it.
Got to work on Cyber too, right? They're pretty seamless with VRMs. I know there's a bunch of other things out there, but those are the three that seem to work as seamlessly as anything right now. But TalkSam's like the expert on this and syncs.
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be VRM files. The VRM files is a super interoperable file format from Japan. And as you can see, Walshley and Trishly, they are using them for V2Ving. So you will be able to use them also to appear in any video call, any Zoom call as your avatar instead of showing your face. You will be also be able to use it on hundreds of different platforms, mainly on Japan, because they made it and they created a lot of things that you can use. There's a game called Craftopia, which look very similar to Zelda, and you can also use them in there. There is another platform called Cluster, which is like the Hyper-5 from Japan. And again, there's also another platform called Bark Shorts, where you will be able to create very short videos with your avatars, and pretty much any platform that uses VRM. I'm really happy that people from the Western world, like we are, is starting to explore this file format, which is based on GLB, which is a very pretty standard file format. I know this is very technical stuff, but the good thing is that this is the right file format that you can use pretty much everywhere, and it's primarily thought on VTubing. So one of the greatest things that I've been doing in my own time is like just jumping into conversation, jumping into video calls, meetings, even job interviews as avatars instead of showing my face. It's not like I don't want to be doxxed, but I want to be, you know, I don't want to show my face as much. So I use my avatar, right? And now I can use my avatars too.
Yes, of course. Same here. Like I'm docs minimum, but I want to keep like my PFP persona for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using your avatar, you can be naked while you are speaking with other people, or you can just be hanging on the sofa, and other people will think you are really talking to them in a very formal manner. I'm not promoting to do this, but that's something that you can do, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the benefits of being in this space, right? That we can do that. I think it's awesome. I don't know. This is a non-traditional type of job. I mean, there are aspects of it that are pretty traditional, but I'm the same. Like, definitely want to use my PFP. And now, like, moving forward, I want to use my Avastar VRM as much as possible too.
Same.
That's a really, yeah, that's using Avastars are just a fun one to because they're near enough to a person that you can kind of still get the intent, and so it's a fun one to use as your personality. Like, I saw some stuff in the chat around, not everybody feels comfortable having their own face on here and stuff like that. Some of the VTubing stuff coming out is, well, as you can see, like what Walsh and I are doing here. It'd be cool if we could get everybody else here to use a VTubing one. We could all be Avastars talking while we goof around here. You can take it a lot. You can take it as far as you want to, but being Web3 has been interesting. It allows you to sort of, like, some of your inner traits that are harder to express and normal stuff start bubbling to the surface the more time you spend here. So some of these folks like Sandy, Dragon, all you got this, you're a different. I'm sure it's probably a different persona that you put forward, but that's probably more your actual persona than what you put on in real life. So I don't know if I necessarily want to be myself like in Meta, right? Or some of these other ones. I don't want to take a picture of myself and use that as my avatar. I want my avatar to be, well, right now I'm using my Avastar because I really like him and I think he's cool and he's closer to my personality. So I'd rather be him than my real face any day.
Yes. I was going to say, like, right now, like, I heard all the extensive work that you guys did, especially, selecting the hair and like the eyes, all of the details, right? Right now I'm using my exclusive, and I, in the future, for sure, also want to use my, like, I just want to use like my variety of the ones that I have, specifically like with like my replica, because I created that. So do you guys have like a timeline for replicas to be able to use the avatar bodies?
Yep. So next week we're gonna release the founders, the exclusives, and the primes, and then we're trying to release the first batch of replicants on Friday. That's not set in stone yet, but we're trying to do that. we're going to release the replicants in batches. So like every week, another batch will be released. So yeah, you'll be able to use those soon too. And currently there are about 1,300 replicants that have been created so far. But right now the replicant factory is down, but we are hopefully bringing that back up on Monday. So we're also hoping that maybe some people will see how dope the replicant outfits look in 3D and maybe want to go mint some more replicants. And then they too would be able to get their replicant 3D VRM.
Sweet. And I don't know if this has been discussed. I'm sure you guys discussed it with them yourselves. But let's say I want to change like my shirt, my pants. I want to add like some jewelry. Anything about that in the future as well?
So the way these were built, correct me if I am wrong in any part of this, Toxam, but to my understanding, the way these were built, in the future, we will be able to switch outfits. So like obviously like the community has talked before about doing like trait-based outfits. Like, you know, if you have a pirate eye patch or the pirate hairstyle, you could get the pirate outfit. Same thing like with like the VR, you might get a VR style outfit or something like that. So at this point, each wave has its own specific outfit. So like you'll notice Avastar Primes, the girls have the skirt and, you know, the leg warmers, and the dudes have like the hoodies. But in the future, you know, we would ideally like to be able to change outfits. And also, I think it would be really cool to have the community create outfits and be able to, you know, trade outfits between the community, kind of like we used to do with crypto voxels. I think that would be a lot of fun for these.
Yeah, we could. I was just thinking, like, even like holiday costumes that we could have for like for
Yeah.
Halloween, for Christmas, just to be in the spirit of stuff. Cool.
Yep. I mean, the way we made them is like the same way you will think on humans, right? We are all born naked and then we dress up. So we created the avatars all. I mean, they are not naked, but below the clothes there is a naked body of an avatar, and obviously it is very difficult to tackle that in the very beginning. So, but this is on the roadmap. It's something that the team of Avatar has been asking for some time, and that's one of the reasons the avatars also took some time, because we wanted it to be very very good with the body. Also, they have good topology, and it's going to be available. I'm not sure when. It's going to be. It's going to be another trip into the into scratching your heads to do it, but it's thought of. It's made in a way so it's in the future is able. We are going to be able to do it.
Sweet.
Okay, so I don't know who has noticed this, but in the prime female outfit, if she flies and you look under her skirt, there's like little galaxy shorts. I thought about that. I'm like, what do we got to put something under there. And then I'm like, ooh, like the galaxy. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I like that idea of putting the
It is
galaxy
cool.
there.
It is cool. Hey, when are we going to be able to put on-chain chains on avatars? Is that just like when they launch and you can modify the file in whatever you're playing in? Is that how that works?
If you are 3D skilled, you can definitely get your VRM file format, get into Blender,
Cool.
get the on-chain chain, and then export it again as a VRM.
Yeah.
There is going to be ways to do it automatically for people who's not skilled, but that is, there's not going to be anything soon. But
cool. Hey Sam, I gotta run. I got a baby doctor appointment. We got a baby due in a couple weeks, so this is like one of the last appointments.
oh,
But it's been fun hanging out.
congratulations!
Thanks. Minting a human.
Oh my gosh, congrats, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. It's good hanging out. Yeah, her name will be Alice, and she's due in about 2.5 weeks.
Oh my
Super
gosh.
excited.
Yo, congratulations, Jim. That's awesome.
Congrats,
man.
Jimmy. Thanks for joining us, man.
I really can't wait. It's hard to think about anything else right now, and I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when she's actually here. So glad we're getting these 3D avatars out the door before the baby comes. Yeah. So, all right. See you guys later. Excited for this. Can't wait for next week. Later. Bye.
Yes.
That was nice. I'm glad he stopped by.
Yeah, it's always a treat when Jimmy pops in.
Yep. Hey, I just mentioned for anybody who's in here poking around, if you double click and Hyperfy, it lets you fly. Walshy and I found it. So he was using AI a couple weeks ago, and he discovered I guess it was a full CAD file for the International Space Station. So we have it floating in the sky above us. If you go up and fly around and look at it, so it's always, you can go dance on it as your Avastar.
Yeah, I'm living this vicariously through you this week, Tris. My computer keeps crashing when I try to jump in, so.
I don't know, you guys. You want to go to some of the? Oh, that was some feedback. You want to go to some of the other places, Rizzle? The other locations we're gonna check out.
Yeah, let's do it. Before people's computers completely crash on and burn on fire, let's load up some of the heavy ones and see if we can RIP someone's computer out there. There's a couple like really cool ones that I always love to show people, and I apologize in advance. They are heavy and like take a little while to load. It's sort of like the trade-off of Monoverse being like a heavier platform, which allows for some things, but is also sort of it takes a minute to load, but this place is incredible. It's been there for a while. It's got a lot of like interactive components. I saw Quigbell posting some shots on there earlier. I'm gonna drop it in the chat over in Hyperfy here as well. Going here, and
just the loading screen is pretty crazy cool.
It's cool, man. Yeah, as you run around in there a little bit, I mean, it's so expansive. And I just wound up like climbing to the top of the mountain just to see like how long it would take me to get there when I first popped in there. And the answer is like a really long time. So I don't recommend it unless you're entering into some competition or something. But it's a fun one to check out that sort of flexes some of the cool stuff that Monoverse has to offer. And then the other one that I'd selected that we can check out after we run around here for a minute is called Fromosville, which is actually like a Bob Ross tribute parcel. Yeah, actually, mine loaded pretty fast too for a change, which is awesome. They actually just pushed some bug fixes, so hopefully things run even faster than they have been. But this is an awesome one to check out. I see someone started the fire. Hang on, let me mute my tab. If you come in here on your own late at night in the dark and turn the volume up, it's got a vibe for real. It's cool. So yeah, you go in here in the middle. Some statues pop up, and there's like a series of tasks or things that you can find if you look off in the distance. It actually looks like it's been updated. I'm not sure what some of those things even are, like some circles and stuff. There's some weird hidden thingies in here and everything. So stuff like this is really cool to me, where like it's sort of like an experience baked into the parcel itself. And so it's worth running around and checking this spot out. We can keep the conversation going, but the next spot I'd like to take you to, probably before the top of the hour, and then I might have to jump off a few minutes after that, is a Bob Ross parody land, which is a completely different vibe. But we've had the creator on the whip a couple times, and he's just like a big fan of the metaverse space in general. And it's just like a wacky Bob Ross parody land that's also sort of gamified in some ways. So I don't know, check it out and run around. StinaBot popped up next to me. What's up, StinaBot? And actually, I know. So we're talking about integrating Avastars, and so Monoverse, unfortunately, not yet. Does not have the easy like click and drop your avatar in there type of thing set up. However, we have copied some of the links from the VRM files, and it's basically just like a copy paste into the screen there. So if you're in Monoverse, you click avatar at the bottom, and I'll drop the link here in the chat in TokenSmart. and I'll drop it in there as well. The UX of Mona is like an acquired taste, and that means like sort of you just gotta get used to it a little bit. I'll drop the link in there as well. So you copy that link, click Avatar, import VRM, paste that link, and then you could be the firefighting Avastar that I am right now. But I know Trizlet's got a whole bunch of other ones set up. And so this is sort of the way that Vipe has had it set up on their website as well. If you have like a Vipe hero, you can get the VRM file or you can get the link. And they actually, for Monaverse, at least for Vipe, had this dope thing set up where you can click through directly without having to goof around with finding the link and everything. So this is sort of what I was saying before. All these platforms sort of have their trade-offs, and some things work much cooler than others in certain places. But yeah, trying to show some of the cool stuff off here. Yeah, it's a cool spot to run around. So I figured we get crucified in the middle of the fire here or whatever's going on. There's some portals. I honestly haven't even been in here in a while. Yeah, that's basically it. And so then I got one other space that we put together, myself and Fractillions, that was just like an ongoing work in progress, where every week we'd make some weird thing, turn it into a GLB, pull it into the world, and it's sort of just like a collage of like really bizarre things that we had put together, consisting of like Rizzle blocks and like avocados and some voxel things and whatnot. So I don't know. For those of y'all who know me, you know how I get down. I like weird stuff, and so just try to queue up some weirdness to show y'all, and hope y'all think it's dope.
Cool. I'm posting a few links for a few of these, so you can, if you're in the Monaverse space, if you go to Avatar at the bottom and click, you can. I dropped 3 links over in the main live chat. These are for those exclusives. This is for 101, 102, and 103. Quigbell, you remember what their actual names are? Anybody who follows the Avastar lore will know this, and I should know it, but I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, so we got Jillian, and then we have Pandora. She's the one with the witch hat, and then Salvatore. Let's see. I'm trying to get in here, but I'm having trouble importing my VRM. Oof.
The first one, at least that I had posted, should work in the live chat here. I can grab that one again. We were sort of this sort of came together on the fly, actually, for people listening. Quigbell and Walshy and Dragonate and Trizlet were like, yo, we're trying to organize this thing, to show off the Avastars, and we're going to go through Hyperfy and Monaverse. I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds dope, because, I don't know, for people who hear from the beginning, we were all part of the crew that pushed this thing into the wild, like, way back in the day. So was really happy to hop on board and try and queue up some cool spots for people to show them off and everything. But anyway, up until like 45 minutes ago, we were uploading files to Web3 storage and like putting the documents together and everything. And you know how Web3 rolls. But so this is like the alpha, sneak peek at this stuff. So glad y'all are here to join us.
Dude, I love Mona, and I love like all these different worlds we're going into. The fire, so it's pretty scary. I had to turn my volume down because I got scared.
Me too.
Monaverse has some of the nice textures, in my opinion, and like the way that the light shines. There's one in particular I really like. It's I think it's called Neon Glitch, or perhaps it was made by Neon Glitch.
Yeah.
And the lighting in that world is just insane.
Oh yeah, Neon Glitch has got an incredible spot. Actually, it would be easy for me to pull that up, and it's worth checking out. We could sort of ad lib on the fly here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up the Neon City.
That's the one, Neon City Streets. The way that the light hits the Avastars, especially with the 80s style hoodie that the male primes have, makes it look like you're almost holographic. It's really sick.
Drop the link.
Yeah, we need a link here.
Okay, got it. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I saw one thing that Binks mentioned. So some of this stuff, if you just click one of those links I posted, it'll either try to download it locally or it'll say it's like it's potentially a virus because it's trying to download a file automatically. You don't want to actually download it. You just want to like copy the text and then paste the link in the avatar load screen inside a Monoverse window. Otherwise, you might run into some problems. Looks like she might still be running into problems, but
I like how we all hopped in like in a line.
oh yeah, of course. This is how it usually works, right? When we have the links, we always think it's going to be tough, but then you get and everybody just immediately jumps in. But yeah, this has been really good. This is if anybody else in the audience has something to say or they want to bring something up, if they've got questions, we don't mind bringing other people up on the stage to talk. We can all, if you have trouble and you need help figuring out how to implement some of these things, you can also reach out and we can help you with it. We really want to make sure. I think one thing that I'm really excited to see once we drop is other people doing the VTubing stuff. I think that'll add a whole new dimension that we've seen in other metaverse made ups before.
Yeah, and for the VTube stuff, you can reach out to myself and I'm sure Trizlet in private if you don't feel like raising your hand right now, and we can walk you through it because it really is quite simple. It's two softwares essentially, and just learning how to do the layering and whatnot on OBS is probably the most challenging part. But once you've got those two programs set up, it's really a cakewalk.
So a couple other things good to know if you're new to Monoverse is if you press C, it will bring up like a emoji wheel or like a wheel of different like emotes you can do. And then there's actually a couple tabs on the bottom of it for people from the community who have submitted some of the more recent ones. So actually recently we got like 3 or 4 times as many options over at Monoverse as they had before. And then if you hit Z, it will pull, wait a minute. Let's see. Do they combine them all? Oh no, if you press Z, it will bring up emojis. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and you can like mash avocado or frog or whatever you're feeling at the moment to express your Avastar love. So just a couple tips and tricks if you're new and have figured out how to get that VRM loaded. That's a common mistake that Trizlet pointed out that I forgot to mention is, you click the VRM link, it prompts you to download it, but you actually don't need to at all. You can literally just copy the link, double tap or right click on it from Discord and just paste it into the thing. And that should set you up pretty good. Shall we move on to Fromosville?
Let's check out Fromo. Fromo is one of my all-time favorites.
Fromo is so great.
That's a good one. Yeah, we're just busy spinning on our heads, so sure thing.
Here. All right, onward to here.
I see a question here.
Yeah, go for
asking, when did we start the 3D project? I mean, I'm even embarrassed to say that it's been almost a year working on this. But yes, it's been almost a year. Yes, we're working the AvaStar's 3D files.
To be fair,
that's just a testament. That's a testament to how much work went in and how much attention to detail went into this project.
Well, and also this space changes so fast, right? Like, so when we started, things like to get to here, 1 year in Web3 is like, 5 years everywhere else. So, like, throughout the process, like, everything changed, probably 10 times. So, I don't know. I think it had to take as long as it did to be as good as it's going to be.
And to be fair, it seems like creating 3D models can take like just a single one can take like a month or more. So this is 25,000 of them.
And again, one of the major challenges is making sure that all of the traits jive well with one another. A great example is what was it, Quig? It was the hoodie with the space helmet, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest challenges I think that we've had as of late. But you'll notice if you have a space helmet and a hoodie, they go together quite well now. It wasn't the case at first, but again, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into making this perfect.
So this is one of my favorite Monoverse spots that I always bring people back to because I feel like it's a great example of like an extremely serious effort that went into a very like wacky place. Like the guy Jay Weinstein, who is a great dude all the way around, put a lot of time and effort into this and is a huge fan of Bob Ross and Bob Ross's like story. Like if there was ever a Bob Ross expert in terms of like his actual legacy, like, you know, it's not just a joke, he's actually like very passionate about him and his story. And there's actually like it's a very fascinating story, which I was not aware of until I met him and worked with him on a couple events and everything. So anyway, it's a really fun place to run around. He's got like a PFP collection that goes with it. That's he's got a museum worked out for it and a live screen that we've pushed some events through and everything. But if there was ever a good spot for like a group photo and you're like not opposed to you know, paying homage to a giant statue of Bob Ross, there's, if you walk in through the entrance and you just sort of follow the path, you sort of come out to a lake where there's this giant Bob Ross statue in the middle. So so that would be a dope spot if people want to sort of congregate around there to try and get a group shot in one of these spots. So it's like got Bob Ross looking out into the horizon. I see Sinks and Sandy Meows piling in and everything. Oh, here we go. And it's got like, you know, some Bob Ross inspirational quotes and everything on it. So I don't know. This didn't mean to turn it on into like a Bob Ross like shill festival or whatever, but I don't know. He's a good like dude. I think we can all agree on it. And I don't know. The place is so cool and so well done in the spirit of like weirdness and metaverse exploration. So I thought this would be a cool one for us to check out.
Hey, can you remind me how to do like a dance again? Like what functions do I push on Mona?
Oh yeah, press C to bring up the emotes, and then you've actually got some toggles at the bottom that'll switch the wheel to a few different options. And then if you close out of that and you hit Z, you'll be able to throw up some emojis. You know, Paradox is like, you know, it's time to throw up some emojis. That's when you mash Z, and you got a bunch of options and everything there. Okay, I see Yunji's popping in for the group shot. Very nice. It looks very epic with like Bob Ross in the background, like pointing into the distance, and we got like some of the clouds moving. I'm gonna drop a screenshot in the Discord here. It's pretty dope. So, if we got time for one more real quick road trip, and you're not afraid of instant avatar death, you can come to this wacky playground that Fractilians and I had made over the course of about 6 or 8 weeks, just sort of tinkering around with magic of voxels and dragging them into Unity and dragging them into Monoverse. And then we'd make some other weird thing, and then we just like drag that in. And it ended up being a bunch of Rizzle blocks and like frog blocks and 3D plants that I had scanned, and we turned into GLBs and brought in there. And it's I don't know, maybe like a really like bizarre metaverse example of the kind of stuff that goes on in my brain, also with what I can execute leaning on other people. So if you want to run around here, at least towards the end of when I can stick around, this is like a pretty fun place with like some weird things to explore, but it's also extremely treacherous. So if you fall off, you just end up back at the beginning type of thing.
Hey, Rizal, do you know if Monaverse has any plans to have like a standalone version? So I got a feeling that um, probably in a standalone version, many of these places will look very, very well.
Help me understand exactly what you mean, man.
Like right now, we're joining through the website. Standalone version will be like downloading monaverse.x and double clicking and joining, not having to go through the browser itself. Kind of like Decentral have the standalone version that works a little bit better, but probably for Monaverse will be a really good solution, especially if you don't mind downloading something and you have a high computer to test it out.
Yeah, dude, that's a good question. I know they have historically been leaning into trying to stay browser based just because of accessibility. But I completely understand what you're saying, man, because I was messing around. Steady was working on a spot in Substrata and importing a bunch of stuff from Rizzlefest. You might have seen it, man. He has got the polygonal mind blankets and everything in there that you guys had sent for Rizzlefest. But anyway, so I was messing around with the Substrata client, and I was very impressed by how smoothly everything ran on it compared to browser-based stuff. The short answer is I'm not entirely sure, man. I completely get the trade-offs. Some of it is accessibility, but sometimes some of it is like, man, things run like real smooth with the client, so I get it. Yo, Musashi, I'll post the tweet, man. You should see what Steady's been cooking up. So anyway, so this is, as you can see, a menagerie of Rizzle blocks, frog blocks. Part of the concept between this whole space was that I was really, when I was starting to work with Monaverse, I was very unfamiliar with Unity and Blender and just really how to do anything. And so I was, just eager to learn how to start manipulating things around so I could like do cool stuff in Monaverse. And Fractillions was like my key to unlock some of that. So I was like, how about we do a class basically in public that will teach me how to do stuff, but we can also sort of make it like wacky and fun and get like some of the community involved and source their ideas and everything. And so it was sort of my not too sneaky way to learn how to do things. And honestly, man, I'm like really thankful for that like whole opportunity, because now like winning conversation with Toxam, Quigbell, Trizlet, Syncs about GLBs and VRMs and converting file types and importing from Blender and all these things that were like a foreign concept. This like bizarre parcel that Trizlet's standing on top of the auditorium, I understand why that needs colliders and what that even is in the first place and how to add stuff like that. And just the creation of this world specifically, even though it's a total mess, actually taught me a ton of just how to use a lot of the skills that are necessary to build in some of these more complicated worlds. So yeah, I appreciate you exploring and checking this spot out. So I don't know, I see Sinks doing handstand or breakdancing in front of me. So that was like a complete tangent from the client question, but that I don't know the answer to. So you got my ramble instead.
That's fine. That's fine. I just wondered because many of the platforms are thinking about having like a client version. The website it's fine, but some of the worlds, if you want to look like high realistic or like high definition worlds, especially now people that is playing with Unreal Engine, and we are seeing like the other side also being like Unreal Engine based. It's going to take a while until websites can really load this. So the result of projects getting into having a client version of it. But this it was just a question. Maybe you had an answer. Maybe you don't. That's totally fine.
Well, see, this is where I come in, man, because my job is to break things as many times as possible so they either figure out that they need a client or don't. Um, so try to get a whole bunch of bodies up in there until they, because I agree, there's definitely a trade-off in terms of just you want people to access it, but you also want it to be able to load in a realistic amount of time so people can access it. So these are questions like a little bit beyond my scope, and I haven't heard anything personally about that in the works on the back end. But that's not also my like primary focus. So I can do some digging, in back channel this conversation for sure, though.
Sure. I mean, VR Chat, which is the most used Metaverse platform, right? They're client version based, and that also allows you to use easier Google Glasses, like jumping into VR, which that will be the optimal goal for many of these platforms to be able to use it on VR in like most immersive experience possible. By the way, I managed myself my top into the Coliseum finally.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that we neglected to add colliders on. That was part of the learning experience. So Toxam, let me pick your brain then, man. What's your take on the trade-off? Like, I feel like there's two directions you can sort of lean into, man. And I feel like if you are able to create a product that's easily usable on mobile, that doesn't need a client, that's very desirable as well. There's probably room for both types of angles on it, but I assume those are like two sort of different needs and angles on things. But what are your thoughts on that?
It depends, because the good thing is that since made in Unity, you can also use this for you can use also Unity builds for mobile and stuff, right? But at the end of the day, you get to be all these metaverse platforms are very similar to games. They are using the same software, they're using the same skill sets, and games are always like designed depending on what's going to be the ultimate platform that you're going to use it. And if you want people to be able to see like all the details, experience like high-end, high resolution things, usually what happens is like people go for either Unreal Engine or they use Unity, but they a lot of lighting, they allow a lot of lighting and textures and stuff. And the thing is, your browser can take as much power computer from your computer, from your PC, and it overheats your computer if you use like website and then try to do like high realistic thing or hyper definition things. But if instead of that you don't use the browser and you just download one thing, you can get a better performance from the same computer, right? So maybe some of these worlds that we are having issues with being downloadable and then clicking in them, they will be working smooth. Obviously, it also depends on the artist. This is not something that only happens to Mona. If you go to VR Chat, you will be seeing worlds that they work very badly because the artists, they don't know how to optimize it, and just optimizing is a huge amount of work that many people doesn't want to go with because it's a daunting work. It's not creative. It's very technical. It can take probably more time to just optimizing than just making the whole thing. So I know a huge amount of artists that they just don't do it. They just don't give a fuck, right? So I guess it depends. If you want to do like super hyper realistic things, maybe at the end of the day, having a client version for maybe for people that just join and check up things, like in a more casual way, the browser is the way. But if you are an artist that is creating a huge art gallery with and you are investing like, I don't know, months into making it, and then you want to present it to to a specific group of people that is going to be enjoying those high realistic things, probably that audience doesn't care about downloading one thing and then using it, right, and then going into the goggles, and maybe they even have like hyper definition VR glasses, and they spend a lot of money to VR glasses. They are highly expensive if you want to go have like a very good one. So probably they don't care about downloading it and having the best experience possible. And it's a trade-off. Maybe another thing that is happening in VR chat is like there are worlds made for Quest. Quest is a low-end VR headset, and then you have worlds that are made for high-end VR headsets, right? So maybe having two different firewalls, letting the artists know that they can optimize their world if they want to be used for more people, and maybe they don't have to do it if they want only to for the high experience. That will be a good option, like having two options. At the end of the day, it's about the issue is that it's not about the platform; it's about the artists. And artists, again, they are pretty lazy when it comes to optimizing. I can get it; it's a pain in the ass job. Um, uh, that's why many of the times I just go into low poly design myself, just so I don't have to afterwards do all the technical things, since I just create things in a way that are optimized. But many artists will say, "Oh, but I want I want my creations to have I don't know, beans, bloody beans in the arms, and you can see the hairs of your scratch or something." And I'm the other way around. I cannot spend that much time into an art into an avatar. I just want to do it. That's why all my avatars are pretty wacky. They're bananas. They're avocados. They're very easy shapes to make and very easy to optimize because they are already optimized. But again, it depends on the artist most of the time. So maybe listening to the demands of the artist and what they are looking for to extract from Mona will be a good solution. Because it's very difficult to tackle. All the platforms are having the same issues, not just about Mona. Again, VRChat has this issue. Um, Neos VR has this issue, and we are getting all of us are getting better computer all the days, right? Every year we get better computers, better computing, but we are still having the same issue that then it comes to an artist that they get a even better computer and they get an even better and bigger in a bigger thing, and we are all having the same issue all the time, which is some of the works that's just not possible for most of the people. But in the case of crypto artists, that some of them spend months into making an art gallery. I don't know how much time does Neon Glitch spend into his creation, but it looks a huge amount of time for me to tackle, and maybe having the option for people to have like a better resolution thing and then join it will be good for them because they live out of the creations they do.
Yo, I appreciate that, man. I always love picking your brain and hearing your take on things. And I'm a big fan of your fruit and vegetable avatars, and that approach in general. I realize that there's a use case for both ends of things, right? There's always going to be
Right.
people who want to see like the arm hair waving in the wind or whatever. But you're like fruit and vegetable VRMs and your like simplified approach. I know those are very simple ones, but they're also very well optimized. Same goes for like the Vipe Heroes. It sounds like you've taken like the same approach with the Avastars as well in terms of making sure they're cool looking, but also not like so overly complex that you can't use them across a whole lot of things. In general, do you feel like that's what people want more of, or is there like a pretty even split between people, a lot of people out there who want like super high res avatars, or do you see more people wanting to just look like a banana?
I would say it's a half-half. Like there's not a good, there's not a final solution to this or final answer to this. If you check the most played games, it's Minecraft, and you can see a lot of people complaining that Minecraft look like shit. But at the same time, you can see many, many, many kids playing Minecraft, and it runs very well and it looks very good. It's about your perspective on the art. How do you like it? This is a debate that we are always having as an artist, especially in the studio. We have people who join our studio and say, "Oh, I want to create high definition things." And it's like, no, man, this studio is not about that. It's about creating shapes and creating beautiful things optimized. And it's a debate between artists and the people who want to enjoy it. I don't think it's final answer. The thing is, if you have a banana or fruit or even avatars and it's well optimized, there are higher chances that people is going to be able to use it because you can plug your low resolution scene into anywhere. The other way around is not possible, right? So my take is, for me, my take is always optimize it, and then you can always add more detail on top of it. But if you go to the higher way, then you have to do, if you want to optimize it, it's going to be a pain in the ass. But don't take my words for as a law. It's about the artists, how they want to do it. I met many different artists who are super high end resolution people, and they spend many hours, many days, even months into making just one avatar, right? For me, I'm very nervous person, so I just want to do something that looks good and works right away, and I don't have to think about it next day because I already made it, so I can think on the next thing. But it's depending on the artist. Like you can also see that in other kind of mediums. You can see people who do realism, people who do abstract work, and they just spend a couple of hours on it, and then you see people who spend months into making just a painting. So, and there's audience for both of things, right? But at the end of the day, if you buy a painting, you can hang it on the wall easily, even if it's a masterwork or if it's a high masterpiece. But the issue with 3D models is like maybe your 3D model doesn't work if you buy it. I'm sure you all seen like Clonex. The Clonex collection, they allow everybody to download their Clonex, but you haven't seen many Clonex around in the world, right? Because they are not optimized, and all now the people have to optimize themselves. And also the Clonex team hasn't managed to optimize them because they didn't thought of that. They just thought about the 2D profile picture, and now they are fucked because they have to think about it, right? And it's going to take them a long while until you can see all of them running around the metaverse and be used.
I think as far as like a barrier to entry situation too, I really like what you guys are doing over at Vipe. Because as a noob coming into the space who would be like, okay, I don't know what kind of VRM I want. I just want it to work, and here's what I want to do with it. Having one place to go where you can find the kind of VRM that you're looking for has been seriously lacking. And I think that you guys are filling that at the perfect time. And thank you for that. Yeah. And sometimes like I want to be a coffee pot some days, and some days I want to be my Avastar, and we should be able to have both. And, we need an easy way to do that. And Vipe's bringing it, man.
I mean, it got into the perfect time after 3 years in the making. Byte is a solution about crypto avatars, right? It's the evolution of crypto avatars. We've been working. If you check out, the first crypto avatars was minted in 2020, and now finally people is listening to. I mean, we made avatars before people was thinking about avatars, and then the 2D apes, the 2D profile picture madness came in, and everybody was talking about avatars, but they were 2D version, and we already made the 3D ones, right? And only 3 years until people got into it.
And Avastars is in the same boat, right? We did too much too early. That's what everyone says. Like, why didn't Avastars take off? They're amazing because we were too early and we did too much. Like, maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe like we'll take off next year or some shit. I don't know, but here we are, right?
I mean, eventually, I think all these things will come up because many of these teams have take a lot of money into making expensive parties, and I know for sure that many of them are running out of money, and we will be seeing a lot of all these projects that went into hype. Many people jump in. We know that in a bull run, people buy shit. Now that we are in, I'm really appreciating that we are now in a beer market because now people is working, and you can see the people that really is working on stuff and the people who just came in, started grifting everywhere. Let's take all these things. Let's make huge parties. Let's take things, and We also this a couple of weeks ago with Suki. That was the driver for people to dump all their NFTs, and the profile picture market has been going down after the Suki grifting right again. So and I don't want to batch other projects, but AvaSmart specifically has been working on the shadow for a long time. We've been working on the shadow for a long time, and I know many projects that have been doing that. And hopefully for the next, not for the next, I don't really care if for the next bull run, but in the long run, in the real long run, I think we are setting up the things to work in the future, not just right now when the hype is going, and when the hype goes down, we don't disappear. We're still here working.
Yep.
Oh, wow, this has been really good. Yeah, we're really excited to have been working with you guys and looking at everything else Vibe's got coming up, all the collaborations, all the other stuff. I mean, yeah, as you said, this is all, I feel like, actually, we started with this conversation where it feels like, oh, look, all the old Token Smart crew is here. All the old people, we used to spend all our time in metaverse presentations and things. You're like, all of us are getting back to our roots, except now we've got years of the technology has finally caught up with some of our ideas, it feels like. So now we're starting to see some really cool stuff come out.
Yeah, we've come a long way from the days of hanging out in voxels and Decentraland. Things are really moving along, and it's exciting to see. We're finally starting to get like AAA grade gaming graphics for metaverse platforms. So, I mean, once I upgrade my 8 gigs of RAM, I might be able to have a little bit more fun.
Well, the other component too.
RAM.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just being silly. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the other thing that I feel like we had all been wanting and waiting for so long was just more interoperability and more, just what we did here across like 5 parcels, being able to be the same avatar across multiple worlds, across multiple platforms, without having to recreate the wheel everywhere. And we've seen VRMs be pushed into existence as like, almost a default file type that people are, being somewhat forced to adopt because a lot of the work that all the people around here put in for a very long time. And so it's cool to see like just what you said, like some of the stuff that we've all been wanting for a very long time actually materialize, and it only seems to get more fun. We're having fun with like a lot less tools and a lot less things to work with, but it's cool to see a lot of the same people still here grinding and pushing all those concepts forward. And here we are spinning on our heads, being able to take our avatars across metaverses and all this stuff. It's so dope. Y'all, I'm gonna have to jump in a couple minutes, y'all, but really appreciate y'all joining me on my wacky tour of these Monoverse parcels that I teed up. The Hyperfy spots are always dope, and the Avastars, can't say enough about Toxam and crew, as well as Walshy, Quigbell for dragging me into this. Trizlet, thank you all so much.
Hey, Rizzle, thanks for coming and hanging out, dude, and likewise, thanks to everybody else that came and hung out with us and joined us here on stage. It's really been a great time.
Yeah, this has been incredible. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for jumping back in, Rizzle, and it's great to see you again, Sandy, everybody. Man, this has been great.
Same. Thank you so much for inviting me, y'all.
Yes, thanks everybody. I had a lot of fun.
Sandy, we need to hang out more. We need to do more things. It was great hanging out with you.
Yes, let's do that. Let's go.
And Dragonate, but I talked to Dragonate, I feel like, in my sleep, so you're cool too, man.
Thank you.
Well, shoot, I'm gonna reach out to you because I want to get my own Avastar, like doing what you're doing. I like that.
Yeah, everybody hit me up. Get in my DMs and ask me for a walkthrough, and I'll help you guys out every step of the way.
Thanks. Alrighty, guys, I'm out too. Much love. I love seeing all of you guys back. Bye.
Bye.
Right, bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
Next time.
See you guys. Thank you for having us.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.